come one, come all, and lend your ears to me, as I and several others now cast pod. Hard Choices is our show, and you will see such acts as some may wish to see outlawed.
Oh my god.
O heart of horniness, where liest thou? What median, nadir, or zenith say? Such knowledge would be sweet, but I say now, 'tis about those we knew along the way. The 2 hours traffic of this unseen scene? The carnal skill of characters, methink. In verse, I ask that question evergreen. Wouldst thou exit, pursued by bear, or twink? So, with the order to e'er stay thou hard, we rank now the personae of the bard.
Fuck! God damn!
I feel like we should clap or something.
Standing ovation.
Incredible. Amazing.
Aw, shucks, y'all. just a little Elizabethan sonnet getting us going tonight.
Nothing like a sonnet to get you going.
Mm-hmm.
You'll love that. You'd love to see it.
Oh, fuck.
I'm your host, a rogue and peasant slave, Dan Mulcairn. Joining with me on this perhaps ill-advised jaunt into the unexplored corners of Shakespeare's folios are that merry wanderer of the night, Megan Bob.
Thou wilt fall backward when thou hast more wit. Bitch, the only reason I would ever fall forward is for doggy.
A returning Hard Choices guest, the she-wolf of France, Stella Cheeks.
I'm just here to make your kings leer.
Oh!
And first time ever Hard Choices guest, the fairy's midwife who comes in shape no bigger than an agate stone on the forefinger of an alderman, drawn with a team of little atomies athwart men's noses as they lie asleep, Kate Osborne.
Hi, everybody. This is what I'm doing with my 2 master's degrees in Shakespeare.
Yes! Yes!
In this episode, we are talking about characters from the comedies, histories, and tragedies of William Shakespeare. Now, I will say, we established some strong and, some might say, unnecessarily stringent rules in making this list of characters. We limited ourselves to only one character from any given play, and we also tried to make a cast that covered as many of Shakespeare's recurring character archetypes as possible. So what I'm saying is there are a number of very iconic characters who are not on this list, as you will see when we get to honorable mentions. But if Megan Bob loves me even a little bit, then this will not be the only Shakespeare episode that we do. So,
Oh, fuck no.
Listeners, write your local congressperson or something. Anyway, with all of that said and done, we do have a list of 21 characters from across Shakespeare's 39 plays, and we've each independently ranked them in order from most fuckable to least fuckable. We'll begin by determining everyone's median character, so starting with our number 11s, and then we will cross down stage, moving further and further down our list until we fall through the trapdoor onto number 21. But just when you think this play is a tragedy, a contrived deus ex machina will pull us from our suffering, and we'll make our way to the zeniths of our list for a very happy ending. As we talk, we'll be giving brief reasons as to why we ranked each of the characters the way we did, but each host can make use of up to 3 big feels soliloquies, in which they turn to the audience, ignore the rest of us, and give a longer argument for what brought them to making certain decisions. Once the lists have been revealed, we'll aggregate them into a single master list, but not before taking a moment to unpack some of the choices we made first. Before diving into our characters, I think the groundlings in the front row could maybe use a reminder as to what exactly we mean when we say fuckability. Megan Bob, if you could do the honors.
Fuckability is not about what they look like. It's about what they fuck like. So assume you are into them, they're into you. How good is that sex? And what is it like?
Well, our boners are straining against the fabric of our pantaloons, but we need to exercise our patience for just a moment longer as we acknowledge this episode's honorable mentions. So first honorable mention is Beatrice from Much Ado About Nothing. I cannot believe that one of my all-time favorite Shakespeare characters didn't make it on here, and I helped make the list, so I have no one to blame but myself.
Our next honorable mention is Shylock from The Merchant of Venice. We were very close to including him, but for obvious reasons, he's kind of the center of a lot of very unpleasant and nasty real world stereotypes. So we're just trying to be horny here. We're not trying to cause any ruckus. No pound. Everybody's keeping their pounds of flesh tonight.
Our next is Iago from Othello. And look, I get it. Some people might want to fuck, Shakespeare's most manipulative villain. Some people. I'm not here to kink shame. It's fine. But we just didn't have room for him on the list. I'm sorry. I don't make the rules. I'm just a guest. Don't blame me.
Our next one is Timon from Timon of Athens. Let it never be said that we, meaning me, don't have deep feelings about sad, misanthropic hermits. But in this fallen bastard of a world, cuts had to be made. I'll be back for you.
Also, not being talked about on this episode is Lance from The Two Gentlemen of Verona. Easily the best character from this play, in my humble opinion. But as you're going to see, we kind of have the comic relief dope archetype very well covered by this list. So, again, next time we have a Shakespeare episode, which I imagine will be any day now, Bob. We'll talk about Lance then.
Okay, wild card right here. I'm using one of my big feels for honorable mentions. Our next honorable mention is Goneril and Regan from King Lear. I am obsessed with Goneril and Regan. They are vicious, they are nasty, but they know what they want. They're gonna work for it. They are not afraid to, even though they're royalty, they're not afraid to mess in the muck and the mire. And the scene where Regan is pull his eyeball out. It does a lot for me. I don't know what that says about me as a person. But I just want to call her mommy. That's all.
And she would gladly oblige you, I'm sure.
It's like the bisexual dilemma of Reagan of do I want to be her? Do I want to fuck her? I don't know.
God.
She's just so cool. I love her so much. She's awful. Why do I love her so much? Anyways.
So next up on our honorable mentions list, we have the Mechanicals from A Midsummer Night's Dream. And anyone out there who has done community theater knows that the opening night party is often an orgy. And, who wouldn't want to be invited?
Yeah.
Who wouldn't?
Mm-hmm.
And finally...
Me, but it's fine.
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern from Hamlet. Listen. Never pass up the opportunity to be the meat in an idiot sandwich. And if that's what you're looking for from this episode, do we have an entry coming up just for you?
Well, I certainly can't resist a cliffhanger ending like that. So let's jump right into the characters that we will be talking about tonight.
Number 1, Prince Hamlet. From Hamlet. After having his father murdered and his mother married by the same shitty uncle, Hamlet embarks on a dilatory meander toward revenge. His play gives us such enduring phrases as, to be or not to be, and, you're not my real dad.
Number 2, Prince Hal, later King Henry from Henry IV Parts 1 and 2 and Henry V. Hal first appears as a dissipated tavern dweller despite being Crown Prince of England. You know how it is with these rich party boys, though. You run into them years later, they've joined the family business, and all they want to talk about is killing the French.
Our next one is a hero from Much Ado About Nothing. The young, beautiful noblewoman whose storybook romance with Claudio is derailed when she's falsely accused of infidelity. A naive, innocent, fainting goat of a woman. Also, I've played hero before, shockingly.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was going to say, should we also be and I have played that
I
person?
feel like
because...
We 100% should.
Okay.
I feel like...
I was going to say, I've already got 5 on this list.
Oh, shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, for sure. Call him out.
Number 4, one who I have not played, is Othello. General of the armies of Venice, Othello falls from martial glory to ruin when the villainous Iago manipulates him into breaking the 2 cardinal rules of marriage. Number 1, communicate honestly. Number 2, don't kill your wife.
Words to live by. No. Number 5, Caius Marcius Coriolanus from Coriolanus. a brave and fearsome Roman general. His authoritarianism gets him driven out of the empire and into the arms of Tullus Aufidius, the only boyfriend bad enough to serve as an ill-advised rebound from Rome herself.
Number 6, Rosalind from As You Like It. A resourceful young woman who disguises herself as Ganymede, a male shepherd, to get access to her crush, Orlando. Extreme? Sure. But let she who has never taken up a hobby for a boy's attention cast the first hacky sack.
I took up Magic the Gathering for 5 minutes.
I became a magician.
Oh,
wow.
Fuck me. All right, you win.
Sleight of hand.
Stella, what magic-based hobby did you take up?
Oh man, I'm a burlesque dancer, so that's pathetic in and of itself.
Really just a sizable portion of your whole steez.
Yeah, that's just, magic with my bra or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing a butt is never pathetic, Stella.
I know, I know. Especially my butt. Hey.
Yeah.
Number 7 on our list is Catherine, the titular sharp-tongued shrew from Taming of the Shrew. Does she get tamed by the time the curtain falls? Well, her final monologue is ambiguous, and if you have a bad director, then it's even worse.
Oh, that was funny.
But either she's in love with Petruchio or she's plotting his murder. She seems happy.
Number 8, we have Cassius from Julius Caesar. Proud, emotional, manipulative Roman general. He's the least surprising member of the conspiracy to kill Caesar, prompting Caesar's famous response when Cassius stabs him. Honestly, I get it, man. It's fair. It's cool. That's not really a vibe that I was going for today, but that's cool as the Ides of March, man. That's not, oh no, I'm dead now. That's what he says. That's from the script.
Yeah, that's line by line. I'm like very impressed with your ability to like
line by line.
Line by line.
Number 9, Angelo from Measure for Measure, the draconian deputy to the Duke of Vienna. Despite his upright public image, Angelo secretly abuses his authority to pressure Isabella into sex. Thus, his central place in Harold Bloom's seminal Shakespeare invention of the dick bag.
Number 10, Lord Barone from Love's Labour's Lost. One of a trio of lords who swear off the company of women, Barone is the least enthusiastic and most cutting about this vow. While all of the lords break their oath, Barone does so openly, calling his friends on their bullshit.
Number 11 is Mercutio, Romeo's witty, ribald friend from Romeo and Juliet. Mercutio may seem out of place in this play, definitely not on this list, spoiler, but he serves a few key functions. For example, being unmistakably cooler than Romeo, making sex jokes, very important, and delivering a 42-line monologue on a ferry nobody asked about. Which is so on brand, it's painful.
Number 12, we have my go-to audition piece for the past 5 years, Puck from A Midsummer Night's Dream, a mischievous sprite who serves the fairy king Oberon. Shakespeare's Puck is just one portrayal of the folkloric Puck, a fairy trickster as old as the universal dream he represents, to fuck around yet never find out.
Oh, God, we aspire. Number 13, Caliban from The Tempest, a monstrous, brutish servant to the wizard Prospero. Well, as monstrous and brutish as any of us would be if our boss were an old white guy who started here after we did. And the asshole on morning shift didn't even have the decency to be salty about it with us.
Number 14, Lady Macbeth from Macbeth. Or the Scottish Bay from the Scottish play, if you're superstitious.
Hey.
A ruthless wife who manipulates her husband into ever more violent acts of ambition, even as the burden of guilt strains her own conscience and sanity.
Number 15, one of my faves, Nerissa from The Merchant of Venice. Portia's clever and sassy lady-in-waiting who disguises herself as a male law clerk to assist Portia in secret. Sure, she's a sidekick, but sometimes, you just want a fun fuck who doesn't have her own page on SparkNotes, Also played her, so biased.
Number 16, the reason why I'm a content creator now and not a Shakespeare person, Margaret from Henry the Sixth, parts 1 through 3, and Richard III. She's a French-born queen of England who schemes behind the back of her weak husband, Henry VI, ultimately leading armies herself. Shakespeare's pretty down on Maggie, but he calls her an Amazonian troll, a big, rough sex worker. Like, that's a bad thing. So, what does he know?
Yeah.
I would at some point like to know why Margaret broke you.
Listen, I've played almost every role on this. There's 3 that I haven't,
Whoa.
and Margaret is not a good time. It's not
It's
you're
pretty
in all the
intense.
shows. It's just, there's too much, and it's fine. Oh, it's a rant for another day.
Number 17, Malvolio from Twelfth Night. Lady Olivia's stuffy, self-righteous steward. Olivia's servants humiliate Malvolio by tricking him into thinking that Olivia loves him. But he's not blameless. He wears cross-gartered yellow stockings in public for her. But nobody loves anybody enough to make that look work.
And that was the first role I ever played in Shakespeare play.
Hey!
Oh my, that's so fucking cute.
Number 18, the Fool from King Lear. The titular king's court jester. He speaks and sings apparent nonsense, but his whimsical words hide deeper truths that Lear often refuses to hear. We'll definitely call you Nuncle in bed.
Number 19 is Autolycus from The Winter's Tale. A peddler, thief, and con artist who never met a pocket he didn't want to pick. He's a quick thinker, but cowardly when threatened. His name means lone wolf. You know he picked that for himself and never looked back. And honestly, go off, King.
Number 20, my man, my love, Sir John Falstaff from Henry IV, Parts 1 and 2, and The Merry Wives of Windsor, who could forget. A knight in name only for the most part, Falstaff is a lovable scoundrel and the life of any party. Hobbies include food, drink, women, and plans that are way beyond his ability to accomplish successfully.
Number 21, Dromio of Syracuse and Dromio of Ephesus from The Comedy of Errors. Identically named identical twins, separated at birth and now serving as slaves to different noblemen. Obviously, they're a package deal. You think you're going to go to bed with one identical twin and not wind up in bed with the other? Do you even farce, bro?
Well, that is quite the list of characters we have to objectify tonight, and that's exactly what we're about to do, starting with our medians. Stella, why don't you start us off? Who do you have as number 11?
I do have Dromio of Syracuse and Dromio of Ephesus. It was just kind of like one fucks, the other doesn't. Nobody can remember which one is which. It's a wash. I was just like, nah, whatever. I don't care about the Comedy of Errors. I'm sorry. I hate this play.
And yet you put it right in the middle. That's very generous of you.
Because there were people I hate a lot more. And I had better reasons for them not fucking on the lower end, where I was just like, you know, one of them's kind of funny. One of them's interesting enough. I could make it work. It's not something I want to do.
You're a go-getter.
Also, I definitely feel like it's not an idiot sandwich. I think like one is participating and one is watching. And I'm just, you know, not to yuck anybody's yum, but like I want everybody to be participating at the orgy. That's just my personal preference.
Sure. All right. Fair enough. Megan Bob, how about you? Who is your number 11?
Hero. Hero is a wow dick. She is all big blinking eyes and not a goddamn clue. But I think if you give her a chance, she's probably a quick learner. I don't know that she'll ever develop like any sense of finesse or of who she is. Although fingers crossed, hopefully she does. But it is very difficult to put a price on a blowjob where she's like crying with wonder at how you make her feel.
That's powerful.
I mean, just the blink, blink, blink.
So my number 11 is Caliban. And Caliban has a lot of frustrations to work out. And, you know, ideally, he would do so through, I don't know, like therapy and being respected as a person by his asshole employer. But, you know, failing that, maybe he'll work it out by pinning you down and riding you into the ground. You know, you're not going to get anything in the same zip code as Finesse with Caliban, but if you don't mind, you know, a few bruises and maybe not being able to walk straight for the remainder of this fiscal quarter, Caliban promises an intense and passionate experience. That leaves us with Kate. Who do you have at number 11?
I have Cassius from Julius Caesar.
Yeah.
Cassius is mid.
Oof.
That's all I have to say. He's mid. He's so mid. He's mid. He's a mid character in a mid play. I said what I said. I will not be taking notes. Thank you.
All right.
I love it.
Okay, moving on down the list. Next up is number 12. Megan Bob, who do you have as 12?
Hamlet. If you can lock into a deep, deep situational depression fuck where you're doing the one thing that feels good, even though that one thing also feels bad, you can have a really good time. I mean, it's a bad time, but it's like a good bad time.
It's one you'll journal about for sure.
Yeah, like it's not like we've all been there. It's like, this is a good bad time.
So my number 12 is Malvolio. And this is a guy with a ton of unexplored and unfulfilled fantasies on the back burner. If you can introduce him to the idea of sexual roleplay and let him act out his dream of being a count, you are going to be unleashing years worth of repressed carnal urges. On the other side of the coin, we have seen the lengths to which Malvolio is willing to openly humiliate himself in order to get what he wants. So I think you're going to find in this guy an extremely versatile switch. He does not go higher, though, simply because it is clear to me that up to this point, physical pleasure in general and sex in particular is not something that he really values. So I don't think he's bringing much to the table aside from just enthusiasm and potential. But, that's certainly not nothing. Kate, who do you have as number 12?
I have Caliban from The Tempest. Caliban is an interesting character because one, boy, is it easy to be problematic surrounding Caliban, like, first off. But second off, like, Caliban is one of the only characters who, like, directly talks about sex. So I'm like, okay, like, a sexual being. But also not the best circumstances.
No.
Not the best situation to be in. And so I feel like Caliban would be like that guy at the bar who you're like, oh yeah, all right, that's
oh no,
all right.
Yeah, it's closing time. I gotta go home with someone. I guess
he's like got closing time vibes, It's fine.
Oof.
And how about you, Stella? Who's your number 12?
Catherine from Taming of the Shrew is my number 12 because she will blow your mind. But you have to get in a fight before that will happen. Like, it is angry sex or it is starfish sex. And I don't know if I have the, like, intestinal fortitude to get into a fight every time I want to have sex. So it's like, it is the best sex you'll have in your life. But you do have to, like, work for it in maybe not the most healthy of ways.
All right, on to our number 13s. I will start this one. My 13 are the Dromios from Comedy of Errors. And, I think that these two will perform sexual acts on you in much the same way that they perform acts of service for their respective masters.
Oh, no.
Which is to say, with a positive attitude and constant unintentional slapstick. Are they going to be good? I don't really think so. Will you be frustrated? Most definitely you will. But if you can have a good sense of humor about it, I think these guys will give you a very fun story to tell in the years to come. And, we see in Comedy of Errors that these guys know how to take a beating. So, like, if that's your thing, this is kind of a 2-for-1 special. Kate, how about you? Who is 13 for you?
I had Othello from Othello, mostly because I have a general rule of not fucking dudes who have killed their wives, but everybody else below him sucks harder. So I didn't know where to put him. He kind of was existing in that like gray area of like, well, no, but I have to put you somewhere. So he ended up with lucky number 13.
I am so fascinated that this is the "you've killed your wife" line, and then it's like, which we've never had to date on this show, but now we have like a benchmark for it, and we're like, below this.
I mean, there's a lot of like real bad guys on this list too. Is like part of it is like Shakespeare did not write like fuckable characters. He wrote people in interesting circumstances, and so it's like to take them from that, it's like my like autism brain is like, but you can't separate the character from the text. So I'm struggle busting all the way through this list. It's fine.
Sure.
No, you're doing beautifully.
Stella, who is your number 13?
My number 13 is Hamlet because he's depressed and manic the whole time, but he has that like hyper focus when he's in mania. So like if you catch him, I'm on the opposite. See, I don't think, as Megan Bob, like I don't think it's the depression sex you want, it's the manic sex that you want. Because the depression sex is like him really thinking so hard. Like you never want to be fucking somebody when you can tell that they're like thinking a thought that's not I'm fucking. And he is constantly just like writing soliloquies in his head. But if he's in that mania, he's like, fuck, let's go. Come on. I'm ready. I got quips and I got dicks. Let's go.
I just imagined like you look down and he's got this blank look on his face and you're just like, are you soliloquizing to the audience right now? Be honest with me.
Are you thinking about death right now?
All right. Megan Bob, you're number 13.
The Fool. There are a lot of characters on this list who like would dump you when you're at your worst. And the Fool, I mean, as we know, he will not. Even if it's probably a good idea, he will not. And I can't imagine what the ceiling is for the Fool. But like the person who can be deeply compassionate and loving to you, even when, let's be charitable, you're clearly in your feelings. I think that's maybe the highest floor imaginable. So I gotta give the Fool 13.
And that's our 13s wrapped up. So we're now on to 14. Kate, who do you have as 14?
I have Nerissa from The Merchant of Venice. Mostly because I could not remember a single interesting thing Nerissa does for the entire show. I was like, yeah, she's fine, I guess. She's maybe in a role play a little bit, but like, I don't know. She's not a very memorable character, so it's like 14 you go, it's fine.
All right, fair enough. Stella, who is your 14?
I chose Coriolanus mostly because I haven't read this play in a long time and I had to Wikipedia it, but also because I think that Coriolanus really, really wants to be a dom and throws his like dom energy around, but he's like painfully a sub, and I'm just not interested. I'm just not interested in like somebody who doesn't know what they want. Like it's totally fine to be a sub, just like come to me with that energy. Like I don't want to have to like decode.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. How about you, Bob? Who's your 14?
Falstaff. I feel bad he's this low. I doubt he can get hard, and if he can, goddamn, he is not staying that way for more than a few minutes. And yet, the appeal of his very, like, down in the muck approach to everything calls to me. Could he actually fuck? Probably not. But sometimes in life, it's enough to make out in between Wendy's nuggets and talk about the sex you'll definitely have later. Falstaff aspires to fuck you like a champ. I would be lying if I said that was not goddamn charming.
I'm so shocked that he's not higher on your list.
I know.
I'm like
my thoughts
shocked
exactly
by that, Megan Bob.
I know. This is because there's people on this list who would dick hard, and I'm like, this is dick squeesh.
I don't know though, because I feel like sex educator Katiosaurus says like sometimes that's like optimal because then you have to get creative. You know what I mean? Like that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I'll come back to that later. It's fine.
This is why we have you on the show. You know, we appreciate this plurality of perspectives.
I was literally a sex educator with master's degrees in Shakespeare. I was bored for this podcast.
Yeah.
So my number 14 is Puck. And I think when it comes to sex, Puck is weak on fundamentals, but gets points for, if you will, special effects. Puck most values novelty. So he'll always want to do something different. He'll always have some sort of new, like, fairy magic or potion or prank that he wants to, like, introduce into the equation as part of the fuck. The thing is, I think Puck is way more interested in the magic part than he is in the sex part. So, like, will you have a good time? I think so, probably. Like, especially if you're willing to kind of laugh at yourself and you're cool with, like, sometimes being the focus of a weird but largely good-natured fairy prank for, you know, a little bit. But, like, I don't think it's the sex that makes it good. I think you could, like, take the sex out of the encounter entirely and Puck would enjoy himself just as much. All right, that brings us now to our number 15s. Kate, start us off with this one. Who do you have as 15?
I put Margaret from various sundry plays. My rationale being, again, there's some murder that happens with Margaret. Like there's a little kill, and I don't know if I, you know, like I wouldn't feel safe. Like I'd be like, yes, mommy, but like I don't know if she's gonna, you know, stab me afterwards, and that makes me nervous.
the difficult conditions to come under, I have to say.
It's right. It's like pressure.
I don't think she ever stabs someone she has sex with. She stabs a lot of people. I don't think it's anyone she has sex with.
Well, you don't know that happens off stage.
That's true. You got to infer a lot of stuff, I guess.
It's the threat that makes it exciting.
Right.
I mean, it depends on what you're into. Some people are really into knife play, right? Like, it's fine.
Yeah. Wait till I talk about her. My number 15 is not Margaret. My number 15 is Falstaff. And this is definitely a case of him overhyping himself to you beforehand. He has entirely too much smugness and self-satisfaction to put in the work, especially if, like, you know, he's gotten you to the point where your clothes are already off, you're ready to go. He's just gonna kind of coast at that point. What saves him from going lower on this list is the fact that he is able to laugh at himself. So when things inevitably go bad, you can at least, like, joke with him about it, and he's definitely gonna have really good food and drink that you can indulge in before and after, and probably during, if we're being honest.
Definitely during.
Bob, who is your 15?
Nerissa, crafty as fuck, but she's so goddamn self-sufficient. And I get big, leaves in the night, does not leave a number. She's ready to demand everything from her would-be spouse, but absolutely fine walking away if his boss can't get it done. I don't know. She's always fine seeing you in the rearview mirror, which is kind of not the best feeling if you're actually interested. I'm like, oh, okay. I thought we had a thing here. I see not. Bummer.
Bummer.
But she hot.
Mm-hmm. Stella, who is your 15?
My 15 is Hero. She reads a lot of romance novels, and she, like, is convinced that she's good at sex. She thinks a lot about sex, but she's just a full, true definition of a pillow princess. I think I agree that she does have potential, but, like, where we're thinking of Hero in the play, she's just she wants to get there. She just doesn't have, like, a lot of moxie to, like, get there on her own. She, like, needs to be led there. But it would be fun to, like, share, like, book recs, I think. That would be nice. Be like,
ooh, now I'm like, yeah, no, we'll hang out now.
Yeah. I think Hero seems, like, pretty, like, chill and fun. I don't know. I need somebody on my level or above. I can't, you know.
All right, that brings us now to our number 16s. I will start us off. My number 16 is Lord Barone. He gets points for being horny, but I find him so unforgivably smug. He seems like the type who would make edgy jokes just for the sake of being edgy.
He is an edgelord.
Like, I tell you what, best case scenario for this guy, I really hope he's into BDSM, because rarely do I have the urge to deploy a ball gag with as much gusto as I feel when I contemplate spending a night with this guy.
Ooh.
Megan Bob, who is your number 16?
Mercutio. I bet it's great. Everything is a joke. The moment it's not, they're out. I don't want to fuck someone who can give me the gift of experimenting with everything about what I like and even who I am, but categorically will not be capable of taking it seriously. That would suck.
All right. Stella, you were 16?
Autolycus is my 16. This guy used to fuck, for sure. And he talks a lot about how he used to fuck. But you hear endless stories about his, like, escapades and the debauchery. But nobody's, like, seen him fucking lately. And, like, everybody's like, does he still fuck? What is his deal? He's always around, but does he do anything? Or is he's just perpetually like, yeah, I got this story about this one time. And it's like, but what do you do now? What's happening now?
You think he fucked a lot in high school and then just dry spell since then?
Yeah. It dried up the moment he started calling himself the Lone Wolf.
Yeah. As soon as he was like, no, I'm not Gerald anymore.
Yeah. Oh my God, I was going to use Gerald.
Perfect.
He's a real Gerald.
That's right.
A lot of Geralds.
Big Gerald energy.
Kate, who is your Gerald? Which is to say you're number 16.
My Gerald is Hamlet.
Damn.
I can't deal with sad boy energy. Like, I'm just not here for it. Like, I was in 8th grade when like emo was cool. Like, it just screams insecure teenager to me. And I also feel like textually he would just be so indecisive. Like, I feel like you wouldn't enjoy yourself because you'd just be like telling him what to do the whole time, but like not in like a fun way, and like a no, can you just actually a little, you know what I mean?
Just
and
a little higher.
Yeah, and then also just like depending on your director, just like the mommy and or daddy issues. You know,
Porque no los dos.
It just seems like a lot, and I'm tired and I'm lazy, frankly.
Same.
And that brings us into our bottom 5. We are moving on to number 17. Megan Bob, who is your 17?
Prince Hal. No matter how good he fucks you, you will have to make room in the bed for his reputation and his feelings about his reputation. If you make me scream because your reputation wouldn't let you do less, then as revenge, I would have to fuck all of France. Don't think I won't do it, Hal. I will conquer France myself and leave you with a fucking wet spot.
Stella, how about you? Your 17?
My 17 is Lord Baron. This dude is the Jack Kerouac of Shakespeare to me. He thinks he's so interesting. He's like, no, it's me and my bros, and like we're doing this self-discovery, and we don't need no girls. And he needs not only does he need women in his life to be like, no, this is wrong, but he also just needs like. He needs a lot. He needs therapy. He needs a job. Like the whole play is about him being checked, basically. Like he's too in love with himself, and not even in love with himself. He's too in love with what I had a boyfriend once compare his comedy writing to Kurt Vonnegut, and I laughed in his face, and he said, "You don't think I'm a good writer?" And I said, I don't think you're fucking Kurt Vonnegut. And then we broke up like a week later. And I feel he has this type of energy. Like he thinks he's so smart, and he's just not. And it's okay to not be smart. But I could talk about this dude forever.
Stella, you're so fucking brave and amazing.
And he doesn't deserve any more of my energy.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, Kate, your 17.
My 17 is the Dromios. One, because as a person who once worked as an orgy coordinator, this is a true story about me. I promise it's going somewhere. Threesomes and beyond, foursomes, fivesomes, orgies are incredibly difficult. They're difficult to navigate. They're difficult to coordinate.
Yeah.
And also, like, I personally don't get the twin thing. Like, I don't find that hot. I find it, like, weird and creepy. I'm like, no, why would you want to don't fuck your brother? That's weird. So I just feel like if they were even in, like, an orgy situation where they happened to both be there, they would just keep missing each other. Like, they would just be, like, in the wrong room at the wrong time. And you'd be like, no, come over here. And then they'd be like, what? And then they'd be like, I found this necklace. And you'd be like, Jesus Christ.
And so then the Benny Hill music plays in the background.
Yeah, they have, like, a real Benny Hill vibe to them. And that's not the vibe that I'm looking for. Like, period 100. Like,
yeah.
For sure. That just leaves us with me for 17, and my 17 is Hero. You know, it's been said already, she has basically no experience in the bedroom. I do think if you're willing to just stick to the absolute basics, a hero who is into you would make for a pretty good sub. But it is one that you would forget about on the way back to your car.
Ooh.
So mean.
That's so cold.
Not untrue.
Not wrong.
Not untrue.
Yeah.
Not untrue.
Dan, you shouldn't say no on this podcast of all podcasts.
Am I going to get canceled for talking about Hero? I always knew it was going to happen sometime.
It's the most unbelievable thing about that play is like somebody sees her getting like absolutely railed and loving it and being like, yeah, that was Hero. And it's like, no, it wasn't. This is
everyone in the room. Fuck no.
No,
absolutely.
it wasn't.
Okay, that brings us now to our number 18s. Stella, would you kindly start us off with yours?
Rosalind from As You Like It.
Oh,
She talks so much. She never shuts up. She's the only person to make drag boring. I think she's so boring and selfish and self-centered and just never shuts up. It's probably because I've seen As You Like It like 16 times and I never ever want to see that play again. But I just feel like I don't know why anybody would be interested in her. I think she also, in a different way, but she also thinks she's so clever. And, like, all she did was put on a pair of pants. And I'm bored by it. I'm so bored by her. Who's the other girl in the play? Her best friend in that play. The, like, slutty girl. 15 times more interesting. Every character in that play is 1,200 times more interesting than her. And she takes up 75% of that play. And I cannot hear her talk. You said that thing with the ball gag? I would fuck her if I could get a ball gag.
All right. Let's see what we can do. Kate, who is your 18?
My 18 is Autolycus from Winter's Tale, because I made a personal vow to myself several years ago that after 5 I was done fucking magicians. And I feel like he's not technically a magician, but like, look me in the eye and tell me he doesn't do card tricks at bars. Like he does. And he, you know what I mean? Like he's got like birthday party magician stank on him. And it's just I'm good. I'm done with that life.
Yeah, he's not 0% Joe Bluth, is what I will say about Autolycus.
He would call them illusions. You know what I mean?
For
like that kind of energy. Yeah.
He waits for a lull in the conversation to be like, well, and he pulls out his cards.
Yeah, or like handkerchief magic. Like I feel like he's just got a bunch of weird shit in his pockets all the time. Yeah. And you're like, not again, please, not here.
Oh no.
I'm trying to have a nice dinner.
My 18 is also Autolycus.
Nice.
Okay.
What is more insulting to me than doing close-up magic at me is that he will always see you as a mark. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, super fuck you, dude. And also, he cannot help himself. For me, if you blow my mind, and then take my laptop, you have retroactively soured any post-orgasmic goodwill. The sex itself, maybe it is great, could theoretically, but definitely not good enough for me to pay with my laptop. That's where all my porn sleeps. Leave it alone.
That's literally happened to me before.
Oh no! Fuck that dude. Where does he live? Do you know?
It was
what
like
town
a decade ago, but it was like full the Wild West of the early OkCupid days.
Oh Jesus! Oh man, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Look, if I had a switchblade, I'll go get you that decades old laptop now.
With my terrible college poetry.
Yeah, that $300 Dell you had that got stolen. My number 18 is a big feels. And it's Coriolanus.
Oh shit.
Interesting.
Do y'all remember that scene from The Shape of Water where Michael Shannon's character is just aggressively missionarying his wife with not a single thought given as to what her experience is?
Yes.
Because that's what you're going to get from Coriolanus. Just at his core, he feels so deeply entitled to everything good in his life, and I have no reason to believe that that does not extend to his sexual pleasure. I was really trying to think if, like, is there a way to, like, use his stubbornly aristocratic and hierarchical worldview to your advantage in a sexual meeting? And, like, I guess if he somehow believed that you were, like, the emperor or someone who was otherwise his, like, political superior, then you could get him to do anything you wanted. And he would do it with aggressive enthusiasm. But I don't encourage that level of deceit in the bedroom. So short of a charming case of mistaken identity, I think you're better off just moving on from Coriolanus.
Also, fun fact, did you know, this is a true thing, I did this once because I got bored. You can take Coriolanus out of Coriolanus and the bulk of the play remains relatively unchanged.
Amazing.
Wow. because people talk about him and around him and kind of towards him.
Uh-huh.
But like, it's fascinating. If you just take out all of his lines, it's kind of the same play.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's even less a big change than Garfield minus Garfield is what you're saying.
It's honestly, there are large sections of it that are really interesting because they're just like, and he's just kind of like, okay, I'm here too, and you're just like, you contribute nothing. You contribute nothing.
That's
okay, I'm
fascinating.
here too. Correlated. I love this.
All right, we're moving on to our number 19s. We are really getting down into the bottom of things here. Kate, who do you have as 19?
I have Hero. For all the reasons that have already been said, I feel like Hero was, one, tragically born without a personality, and two, like, I do not have time for like pillow princess. Like, I don't know what I want, and I don't know what I like, and I'm like, I'm lazy and I'm tired. Like, no, thank you. And she also gives. Like, I know she's supposed to be, like, in her 20s, but she gives, like, very immature vibes. Yeah. Like, she feels younger. And so it's just, like, she just gives me, like, the ick. I'm like, nah, no thank you.
Yeah.
She believes in soulmates, and that is a negative thing.
Megan Bob, who is your 19?
Lord Barone. Fucking, I never thought I'd feel this way, guy. Is like fucking on probation. You do not want to be with someone who thought they were above it all until last fucking Tuesday and just is now reckoning with their humanity. Like, unless you are into standing in the bedroom while this guy stares at his dick and goes, but I have feelings. This is going to feel like he's doing you a favor, and that sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
So my number 19 is The Fool. And it's primarily because I value clear communication in the bedroom like a lot. And if like the Fool and I are kind of going at it and he suddenly looks at me with this kind of like silly but obviously condescending expression and he's just like, oh, cry mercy, sirrah, the badger cannot find his store cash when the sun courts the moon. I don't know what that means or what he wants. And that is an issue. Stella, who is your 19?
Mine is Cassius, because I think it's just a game of one-upsmanship. He's prone to jealousy, he's prone to envy, he is, kind of squirrely, conspiratorial, and I don't need to be like Annie Oakley in the bedroom. It doesn't need to be like anything you can do, I can do better every single time. Like, that's fun every once in a while, maybe, like, yeah, whatever, but like, it can't be a talent show. Also, thinking about, like, at least with Margaret and the knife, you're like, oh, this is exciting. Him and the knife, it's like, are you gonna stab me if you're just like mad? Also, retroactively, I should have said that the Rosalind thing was a big feels for me. So that's a retroactive big feels.
Okay.
I feel like you could
we'll
tell
put the
from
music in here.
The fervor of my my delivery.
Yeah, the fervor and the length of detail you were going into with that. Yeah.
So, retroactive.
Okay, great. All right. That brings us to our number 20s. I will start this one off because my number 20 is a big feels. And it is Hamlet.
Ooh.
Okay.
I got no time for this.
Look, as the main character of a play, he's interesting, he's compelling, he's really effective. As a guy that you have to deal with in any interpersonal context, especially sex, he's terrible. He's indecisive at all times, except when he makes really rash decisions, like blindly stabbing someone to death who he can't actually see. He never comes out and says what he's thinking or what he wants, partly because he's aloof and he distrusts intimacy, and partly because he himself doesn't know what he wants. He takes his frustrations at himself out on Ophelia in the cruelest and shittiest way possible. He is able to somehow make a situation in which his father's ghost demands vengeance about himself. And worst of all, he mansplains to actors how to act. Oh, really, Hamlet? I should fit the actions to the word you say? Oh, please, don't waste your precious genius on me. The world needs you. Go. Seriously, go.
Dan, did you fuck a Hamlet? Like, this is the most angry I've ever seen you at any character.
We're moving on.
We're
Stella,
moving
this is funny.
Okay, I think this one might be a little shocking, but my number 20 is Caliban.
Mhm.
I am,
Whoa.
as we know, like from like previous podcasts, I am, a monster fucker. But there's something about Caliban, like he's been manipulated his whole life. He's been turned into a monster. I don't think he necessarily would be a monster if he didn't have all these outside forces about him. And while he does like talk about sex, and there's just something like really sad and innocent about him. And I would like to chill with Caliban and be like, hey man, like I'm sorry that like you deserve better, but there's something about fucking him that would feel like I was taking advantage of like a really shitty situation. So while I like Caliban, I love Caliban as a character, and I think I would like him as a friend to be like, hey, I'm here to help you. Like, let me help you. But there's something about him that I would feel like a monster. In like, he's technically the monster, but I would feel like a monster. And that's not what I'm about.
Yeah.
Stella, I also want you to know that was absolutely what I did, and then I was like, oh no, we have to fuck everybody. But that was exactly what I thought. I was like, Caliban is too sad to fuck, but I just kind of threw him on the list somewhere because I did okay, like now I feel like very vindicated and justified, so thank you.
Good, I'm glad, because I was like, is he too low? Are people gonna be like, this is against your brand? But there's just something about him, like I literally just wrote too innocent. No.
Yeah.
He's a victim of circumstances more than anything else.
Yeah. Megan Bob, who is your number 20?
It's not Caliban. You'll have to wait for that.
Yeah, I didn't think for 1 second
Nobody thought
it was going to be Caliban.
It's Lady Macbeth. Okay. The thing is that she thinks she's a hard ass. She's categorically not, and that's terrifying. And she is a hard ass in some ways, but you do not want to fuck the person who has no clue about their own vulnerabilities. That is it. It's not that she's wrong to have them. Let's make that very fucking clear. It's that you can't fuck someone who doesn't realize the point in the scene when they should have safe worded. That's true for tops and bottoms. She's a top, but she ain't that kind of top. She thinks she is. You got to work that shit out before you start the scene, man. I don't want to be there when that breaks bad.
Very interesting. Okay, Kate, you're 20.
Mine is the number 20 is the Fool from King Lear. Honestly, kind of for what Stella just said about Caliban, like I just feel like the Fool is a really vulnerable character, and he's really wise, and like I would have a beer with him. I would like hang out with him. I'd be like, hey, this is weird things that are happening in the kingdom, but like I don't want to fuck him. He also, I feel like he would be like crusty. Like crusty.
Like,
you know what I mean?
Like physically, like there's a crust on him?
Yeah,
or...
like he feels like he would be like a little crusty. Like, I don't know. I just get that vibe.
As you say that, I'm like, move him up on the list. A thin breakable crust. Delicious.
All right. And that brings us to the bottom of the list, the nadir, our number 21s. Stella, who is your 21?
It's Angelo. He's an MRA. He's a pickup artist. He negs Isabella. He's a criminal. He's a crook. He's a rapist. He's a piece of shit. Like, he's the worst. There are a lot of villains or villainous people on this list, or like, not even a lot of villains, but there are people who do bad things, like stabbing. But like, Angelo's just like, is to me the only like capital V villain on this list. Like, fuck this dude. Fuck this dude. Ugh. He is the worst.
I'm going to jump in here because my number 21 is also Angelo. He is too much of a prudish coward to be horny on main. He has to use coercion to get any play whatsoever.
Yep.
And he's such a cad that he doesn't even follow through on his end of the bargain once he's gotten his dick wet. So what is sex with Angelo like? It's like what Isabella has to go through in that play, except you don't get the satisfying comeuppance at the end. It's just the dirt worst. Kate, who is your 21?
My 21 is also Angelo.
Yes!
He like just incel energy.
Yes.
Just incel energy, like all the way down, just gross, disgusting, rapey, murdery. Like, no, absolutely not. No, sex with me is a privilege and you cannot.
And that just leaves Bob. And Bob, I know for a fact Angelo is not your 21.
Oh, fuck no, he ain't my 21. Margaret, because terrifying. Like, super hot, but terrifying. Like, you never want the person who doesn't understand what they've done until it happens to them. You never want the dom who's like, and she's definitely a dom, who goes, oh, now I get it, after having done something like deeply fucked up. That's a little too scary for me. Although, again, I do want to see her hold a knife, but I don't want to see her hold it at me.
Interestingly, that's the bottom half of our list. That's all the way through 21. And so far, every character has appeared at least once, which is not something that often happens on this show.
So
Usually
true.
there's a couple of characters that, are kind of holdouts. Everyone likes them, saves them for the top 10. Clearly, we have a diversity of opinions about these characters, except for Angelo.
Fuck that guy.
I just also, like, y'all are kind of changing my mind on some of my numbers. Like, you're making very compelling arguments. And I'm like, well, now that you say it like that, because I don't know.
That's the thing about this show. I almost always leave with different opinions about at least a few characters.
Yeah.
Just based on the conversations that are being had.
I'm prepared to not change anyone's mind about it.
Yeah, that's fair. Fine. All right. Well, our boners lie motionless on stage, spattered in red Caro syrup. One of the obnoxious kids in the audience points out that he can still see our boners breathing, but everyone rightfully ignores him. Now isn't the time. We've experienced some real tragedy and loss today, and we're going to have to spend some time deeply reflecting on the human condition. Hey, wait a minute. Our boners are rising back up. They're not dead after all.
Hooray!
Huzzah! Huzzah! Self-reflection for us. Thanks.
Yeah.
We're just going to move on to our top 10 picks now, starting with our number 10s. Kate, who is your number 10?
My number 10 is Malvolio, because I feel like Malvolio is like, he's kind of got incel energy, but like in like a redeemable way. Like, I want him to like embrace himself and be like, it's okay to be a sub. It's okay to like want to dress up in fun costumes. It's okay to role play. Like, that's okay. And you don't need to be like a creepy little dick about it. It's okay. Yeah, I think that's my answer.
Yeah. All right. So my number 10 is Cassius. He's part of that school of manipulative Shakespeare villains, as, exemplified by Iago. But I feel like my take is Cassius is like the least impressive of all of that character type. And it's not because he doesn't get results, clearly he does. But like he's petty and cowardly, and he's like weirdly short-sighted. Like, he knows how to manipulate people, which means that he understands people. So, if he's invested in you having a good time, it's probably going to happen. Like, he just has that capability. But more than most other manipulators, I think that like his is the mask that's easiest to slip. And I think you're going to feel the worst about having had a good time with him afterwards. Bob, your number 10?
Cassius.
Also Cassius. All right.
Jealousy is hot and scheming is hot. I'm sorry. I have no defense. I just think, like, we have done this before with other characters. The character who you're like, Julius Caesar, you're so good. And then he's like, oh, fuck no, you will not in my oh, no. Perpetual motion machine. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Stella? Who's your 10?
My 10 is the Fool. He is what the stereotypical jokey version of like polyamory is. He's like polyamory as an avatar. Like, if you see him at the orgy, like, you wouldn't leave the orgy, but you're like, this orgy has a different vibe now. That's okay. It has a different vibe. He's the avatar of like negative polyamory. But he also like does know how to fuck because of that. So like he's an orgy only fuck for me.
Interesting.
Interesting. I need both an aperitif and an appetizer, like and like a cleanser. Like, I need both.
Okay. All right. That brings us up to number 9. I will start us off here. My number 9 is Othello. And there are 3 options with Othello as I see it. I'm going to list them in ascending order of fuckability. So number 3, you just let Othello dictate the direction that the night takes. You'll get a perfectly serviceable fuck with someone who's like looking to color within the lines, shall we say. Option number 2, you dom Othello. You allow him to relax from the burden of leadership and like propriety for, a little bit. Number 1 with Othello, get him to open up. Like, talk to him. about all the stuff that he's been wanting to do, but hasn't been allowing himself to do because of like the image that he feels like he needs to maintain. This is a guy who I think is going to respond very well to a person who genuinely cares about and is interested in him. And if you can be like his refuge from a judging world, I think you're going to find yourself very richly rewarded. Megan Bob, you're number 9.
Malvolio. If you've ever seen Predicament Bondage, yum yum yum, he is that, but completely in and of himself. He will be miserable if you give him what he claims to want, and he will be miserable if you give him what he actually wants. He will complain the whole time. He will puff and bluster at the indignities of sex. He will recoil at the messiness of humanity. But he wants it. And if you can be patient, you have a very pleasant future ahead of you, murmuring, good boy, to someone who, the moment he hears it, will hiss and purr at the same fucking time. Once in a lifetime sub.
Stella, how about you? Who's your 9?
My 9 is also Othello. I feel like Othello, wife murder aside, which is rough to do, but it's Shakespeare, so like whatever. Othello canonically fucks. Like he is good at sex in the play. Desmond, like, he's like, oh, my husband, you know, truly again before he murders her. Also, this is maybe really a fucked up thing to say, but will respond to subliminal messaging very well.
Oh, wow.
You can be at dinner and just drop hints of like the things that you want, and then he will like internalize it and then think it's his idea, and then you get what you want without a lot of
Holy
work.
Shit.
And that is a absolutely fucked up thing to say, but it is why he is at my number 9. I know that he can fuck, and I know that I can subliminally manipulate him to get exactly what I want.
You have just launched 1,000 Iago Othello ships. It is unbelievable, that idea that you planted.
Now I want to go on AO3 while you guys talk and see how many Iago Othello ships there are.
I've read at least 4.
Yeah,
so.
right?
There you go.
Yeah.
Kate, who is your 9?
Well, with number 9, I am realizing something very interesting about this whole list is that I feel like a lot of this has to do with the productions you've seen and the interpretations you've seen, and then how that sort of fits into like the, you know, like your own reading of the play. Because for mine, my 9 is Rosalind, because like unlike Stella, I want to listen to Rosalind talk because I feel I don't think this is a big feel. I was gonna, but then I changed my mind. Okay. But I feel like she's so headstrong and she's so spunky, and there's like kind of a gender queer situation going on a little bit as well, especially like with the epilogue. And so I feel like she would be really fun. I feel like she would listen. I feel like she would care. Like, I think she'd be like fun, but she's not like top of the list. You know, she's like, oh yeah. Well, she's not, she didn't murder anybody, so that's cool.
It is a big plus, I will say.
Yeah.
Big plus.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Bob. I'm like, I don't know. Some of these murderers looking pretty good to me. All right. That brings us up to number 8 now. Bob, you are number 8, please.
The Dromios. This is the world's easiest feel-good trick. You pet them both at the same time, tell them how lovely you think they are. Guaranteed goddamn to you, they will come at exactly the same time and groan in exactly the same way. So it's like stereo. But ultimately, to quote Marge Simpson, I just think they're neat. I know. Yeah, like potatoes. Beautiful.
Yeah. Stella, your number 8?
My number 8 is Prince Hal. He is good, reliable, dependable dick. It's not going to blow your mind. It's not, but it's not going to disappoint you. It's never, he is your booty call friend. That's like, you're not in a relationship right now. I'm not in a relationship right now. I'm bored and horny. Are you bored and horny? And it is like, it's always satisfactory. It's it is dependable dick. And sometimes that's what you need.
Yeah.
That's good. Kate, you are number 8.
This is where I also start realizing that I don't want to say I misunderstood the assignment, but I definitely overanalyzed and overthought the assignment.
Like somebody with 2 master's degrees about Shakespeare.
I was like, oh man, I have so many feelings. I was like, this is really, really hard. It took me so long, and I'm already not happy with it.
Oh, no, that's the normal hard choice experience, but we're very happy you're doing it, and I cannot wait.
But so one of my questions is I was like, well, I don't know like where we are in the play fuckability because my number 8 is Lady Macbeth, but with the asterisk, baseball asterisk, that it's pre-act 3 Lady Macbeth, because otherwise like that just feels like you're taking advantage of a bad situation. But I don't know, like I haven't had a lot of like lady doms in my life, but like. The ones who I've had like that, it hits different, like literally, you know what I mean? And so I was like, I think she's a woman who knows what she wants until she doesn't. But if you're just like there for like a casual scene, like negotiate that shit ahead of time and have a good time and wash your hands after.
And wash your hands. Jokes.
I got
For
jokes.
the listeners at home, there were a lot of finger guns that went around.
There was a lot of finger guns.
I feel like they could feel it subliminally.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't feel the finger guns, you're not paying attention, but there were definitely finger guns.
I just had the image of you, Kate, like lying in bed afterwards, and you just like look over into the bathroom, and you, like 20 minutes after Lady Macbeth went in there,
what
and
are
you're
you
like,
doing?
Are you still washing your hands?
Right?
What are you
You're
doing?
like, now I feel insulted. Wow.
That's right. So my number 8 is Autolycus. Clearly, I have the rose-colored glasses for this character.
Sell
in this
me.
group. All right, Bob. So here's the thing. This is a guy who realizes that he is very likely to end up in a bad situation through every fault of his own. I think he has, on multiple occasions, found himself attempting to spin a potentially bad situation by appeasing his antagonist with sexual favors. And with how often he pisses people off, I think he's pretty good at said sexual favors. So, you know, I'm a glass half full kind of guy. All right, we're moving on to number 7s. Stella, start us off. Your number 7.
My number 7, I was actually shocked at how high this character ranked for me, is Malvolio. There is just something about him. And honestly, what I wrote was, takes direction well, not afraid to mix it up and wear costumes. Like, I like that about him. But the more I listened to Megan Mom talk, I was like, yeah, I want to call him a good boy.
Honestly,
that is what it is. I want to be the Olivia in the situation, but like in a sexy way. I think of myself as like a switch, but like I want him to lick my boots.
Yeah.
I really want that. And I want him to hate doing it, but also like have a really hard boner while he does it in his yellow stockings. I'm usually not into humiliation, but like I want to humiliate this man and have him thank me for it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And this making this list really like brought to life some things that I don't know if I'm ready to unpack.
I know. I was like, I feel like I've really been changed about Malvolio. Like I'm like, my mind has been changed.
Well, Kate, I know you don't have Malvolio at 7. Who do you have at 7?
I have Prince Hal, because let me ask you a question, group. Have you ever topped someone who is taller than you? and you have that moment of like where you're like lifting up their, but you're like they're taller than you. Like Prince Hal, he's like solid. He's a solid standard fuck, but like there's something about putting a little princely tough guy, tall guy, muscle boy, athlete guy, giving him the old good boy. Like, I just think that's cute.
This is a man who deeply needs to be pegged.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I was trying not to say it, but
you can say it out loud.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. This is a safe space.
Yeah.
Right. So my number 7 is Catherine.
Brave.
So, and yeah, like, Stella, you mentioned this, like the ideal sexual encounter with her basically starts with something similar to the insult fight that she has with Petruchio, where like the two of you are just like taking turns trying to outdo each other with like verbal jabs and riposts. The difference here is she wasn't into Petruchio, but she is into you.
Yeah,
So
that's
like
true.
by the time the clothes come off, you've both like worked yourself into this emotional frenzy at having found your intellectual equal.
Ooh.
And Stella, I agree with you. This is not something that I want to have. Like, this is not what I want my standard sexual experience to be, but it is going to be explosive.
Yeah.
So I can't rank it any lower than that.
That's fair.
All right. Megan Bob, you're 7.
This feels against brand. I put Othello. And it's for a mushy ass reason. He marries Desdemona because he feels loved by her. And the reason he kills her, not a good reason. Let's be very fucking clear. Not advocating spousal murder at all. It's because he questioned, like, did you ever really love me? And he's that fragile. But in this situation where they actually did consummate their wedding and he does feel that love, like, he is such a fucking flower. Like, you just open up. The full height of that love. I can't believe I'm talking about this.
This is so against character. I'm fascinated. I love this.
I know. But, like, if he feels that, like, oh my God, like, I am loved, I am accepted, I think you can get the bed breaking, like, hungry gaze, maybe some crying, like, some like, are you crying? No. Like the gasping sex that it makes you feel wholly alive.
Oh,
1 second. I'm writing something down. I'm writing something down for let's unpack that for Bob.
That's no more than I deserve.
That brings us now to our number 6s. Stella, you are number 6, please.
Queen Margaret is my number 6.
Yeah.
I want big mommy energy with maybe this woman will kill me. And I also love that, like, this is a woman who will do anything to get what she wants, which is sometimes bad, sometimes murdery. But again, this is a podcast about Shakespeare. There is a murder aplenty. But I also like the duality of her, because that, like, she has a fucks for duty fuck, where she's like, I'm a queen and I need to make a kid. But then she has, like, I'm fucking because I want to fuck. And, like, I want to be there for that. And I also want to do, if I want Malvolio to lick my boots, I would like to lick her boots. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The knife is not a deal breaker for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a stab me, mommy. Oh, can you imagine Queen Margaret with a strap on? Because I am. Honestly, we should move on because I am imagining it a lot and maybe need a moment.
Okay. We'll let you recover for a second. Yeah. Megan Bob, who is your number 6?
Angelo.
Okay.
Angelo. Okay, look, I have a lot of time for measure. Look, you go with me on this. Are you Isabella? He and Isabella are the same person coming to different conclusions about the same thing. She is running from the risk of her own sexuality. He's running towards it. He wants her to, like, fall with him and choose corruption as he sees it together. Like, he wasn't waiting for just anyone to come along, and he still kind of isn't. There is not really anyone before her, and there's not really going to be anyone after. Obviously, like, they both end the play in silence. They're the only two people who look at Vienna with the same deep concern. Fuck the Duke, like, whatever. Him with this kind of overinflated sense of justice, her with this kind of insane level of mercy, but they agree on what the problem is, and they're, like, equally troubled by it. If you are Isabella and you can take that step towards him, if you can grapple with your own shit honestly, like, instead of, because she's looking for more restrictions. Like, this is such a big field. She's looking for more restrictions and, like, oh no, I just want more restraints on me. There's something here. I am not saying fuck the guy who blackmails you. I'm not saying that. I'm saying when you can fully be in the messiness and complexity of what you're both afraid of, it's worth doing. It's dangerous. Most people, Isabella included, would rather run. But I think in this play particularly, maybe in this list, the real nightmare is fucking the guy who has these feelings but pretends that he doesn't, or that he's too good for them. And instead they come out in, like, 1,000 little fucking bullshit, pernicious, manipulative ways that slowly fence you in. I would, in all seriousness, given, like, the list of men for measure, rather fuck the guy who comes to me with like messy, fucked up feelings that he fully owns as super like he does not apologize. He's like, this is disgusting and I'm a piece of shit. I would rather fuck that guy than the other guys in the play who are pretty much categorically shittier than Angelo, but do not have the goddamn balls to admit it.
Better you than me, buddy.
No, I know. I know.
I would just like to take a moment and like, while I disagree with you, like you had me, like there was a part of me that was like, maybe yes. Like that was a good speech.
That was well argued.
Yeah, that was
Thank you.
like capital R rhetoric. Good job.
I 100% do not think it is a good idea, but like you look at those other assholes in the play and like they're so much fucking worse than he is, and that is a nightmare.
Okay. Well, that brings us to my number 6. And my number 6 is Nerissa.
Right.
Nerissa combines versatility with a sort of relaxed unpretentiousness. This is a casual, uncomplicated fuck with someone who just likes having fun, but she also takes pride in satisfying other people. So, like, you know, she'd be down for just about anything you'd want to try. She would have ideas of her own that she would suggest. And I just, like, when I think about it, I just see both of us, like, smiling and laughing the whole time. Like, it just sounds fun, you know?
Yeah.
Aww. All right. That's nice.
Kate, your number 6.
My number 6 is Lord Barone from Gunslinger's Lost.
Sell me. Sell
Hear me
me.
out. So if we're considering a situation in which Barone and I are now engaging in intercourse, it means either I am there or he is here, and I'm assuming for the argument of this list, he's here, which means I would introduce Barone to pornography. I would be like, my good Sir Barone, here's Quinn, right? Here's some spicy audio. Here's AO3. Now go off and write me some steamy fucking literary nonsense, because he's smart. He's a writer. He's passionate. He's romantic. And I'm like, I think that'd be cool to get just like little porn emails from your little man toy. I think that'd be really fun.
Custom porn boy.
Yeah, just like
Custom
little,
porn.
you know, just like, hey, I was thinking of you this afternoon and I wrote you these 7 pages of smut. Like that's fun. That's fun.
That is super fun.
Okay. We're now on our top 5, y'all.
Okay.
Starting with our number 5, as top 5 so often do. Megan Bob, who is your number 5?
Probably should have put him higher as far as I'm concerned, but Caius Marcius Coriolanus. This is from Aufidius. I have nightly since dreamt of encounters twixt thyself and me. We have been down together in my sleep, unbuckling helms, fisting each other's throat, and waked half dead with nothing. You want to be Aufidius. You need the angry, rejected, outraged Coriolanus. You need to be fully with him in the rage that Rome is what Rome is. Ultimately, this is doomed because Coriolanus never going to walk away from what he has to do. But for one perfect night, you can imagine how good it would feel to fuck in Rome's ashes, fully obsessed with one another and with the world of battle that like only the two of you can understand.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Bob, you're really like digging into some deep stuff this episode.
Yeah.
It's really bringing
I
it out
love
of
this
you.
energy. I love
Yeah.
this.
I'm really into it.
There's a production of him where like it's very intense between the two of them, and it is a goddamn heartbreak whenever Aufidius kills him. Like you can see Aufidius going like, I thought we were gonna fuck for the rest of our lives, and you have broken my heart. Oh
Yeah. That's good stuff. Okay, my number 5 is my final big feels. And it is Prince Hal / King Henry. So Hal is deeply manipulative. He hangs out with Falstaff and his friends only because doing so means that like he doesn't have to live up to the expectations of being a crown prince, and then he ditches them the second he has a change of heart. He makes the legitimately incredible St. Crispin's Day speech to his army of peasants, promising them falsely that they will somehow escape the bonds of feudalism and be treated like equals as long as they pull their weight in the battle to come. I've seen some conflicting takes as to whether or not he actually loves Catherine as much as he says he does. I'm pretty skeptical that he does.
Yeah.
That's my take. But here's the thing. All of those people that he lied to, his friends, his army, Catherine, when he wanted to, he was able to make them feel incredibly, singularly special. And if he's into you, he will make you feel the same way. He may leave you in the morning and pretend he doesn't recognize you if you run into him again. But for that night, you will feel as though you truly matter in a really profound way. All right.
These are like
Kate, your number
good speeches, everybody. Like
Yeah.
these are like your modern day monologues.
Also, I'm like,
I feel like Shakespeare deserves nothing less.
I love it.
Dan's praise cake coming out here. Like,
Listen,
Prince Hal, like,
Oh.
make me feel special. No, this is beautiful. I'm very
listen, just
into
wait
this.
till you hear my top 5.
Yeah.
Praise kink all the way down.
Let's hear it. Who's your number 5, Kate?
So my number 5 is Mercutio, which I felt a little trite about doing, but what do we know about Mercutio? He's imaginative. He's athletic. He's fiery. He does drugs, probably.
Yeah.
At least shrooms. I'm willing to say at least shrooms.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm willing to like have a really fun night with a burner dude, you know, like just like a really passionate, excited like burner dude who's like, like I think that would be really, really fun. And I think if you dated, like I think if you're like a longer term relationship, I think you would be fiercely loyal. I think you would be incredibly romantic. I think it would be the type of guy who like makes you coffee in the morning and is like excited about it. But I do also think he would be like the type of guy who like goes through your phone and gets like weird about like things that don't matter, you know? And so so that's why he's only the number 5.
Yeah. All right.
I'm gonna like look him up again now.
Stella, your number 5?
My number 5, I'm upset that he's as high on this list as he is in a different way than I was about Malvolio, where I was like, okay, you know what? This one I'm just like, God damn it. Why are you this number? But he is. My number 5 is Puck from Midsummer. I'm resistant to it because as somebody who reads a lot of romance novels and paranormal romance, I hate fairy books. I really do.
Yeah.
The Fae do not do it for me. Sorry, all those Sarah J. Maas fans. I hate it. But if we're like thinking about like fuckability, like Puck fucks. It rhymes, right? Like it rhymes. We love a rhyme. Like Shakespeare loves to rhyme. But also like, yes, he is like mischievous and manipulative, but like as far as Fae go, especially in Midsummer, he's really smart, right? And he also tries. He's clever. He comes up with like new like tricks. He wants to try new things. And also like he has endless, boundless Fae energy. So it's just like this is an all night experience. I feel like he's amazing in an orgy, but is also like transcendent in a one-on-one. The reason why he's lower is because not a fairy fan, but also like I just like comedy is not for me. I'm not a chuckle fucker. I'm a reformed chuckle fucker. And he has like big like I'm gonna make quips and jokes vibes, and I don't know if I can be there for that. But
Sure.
I think that he's the type of person that makes like an outline. He's like, okay, we're going to start with this, and then we're going to move to this, and then I'm going to do this position. Like he is ready. He likes a plan, and he can execute that plan. So I will fuck this fairy.
Perfect. All right, we're up to number 4s now. I will start. My number 4 is Lady Macbeth. If her husband is to be believed, this is pussy good enough to commit regicide for. Kate, your number 4.
So I'm actually I feel like I am so grateful because my number 4 is Coriolanus. Because I was having a really hard time explaining why, but Megan Bob said it. Megan Bob said that's it. Like that's the reason. It's the same reason, same speech that I was gonna quote. Like the whole thing, choke me to death and get mad about Rome. Yes, please.
Yeah, forget fiddling while Rome burns. Let's fuck while romance
Yeah,
burns.
yeah. Just get over your mommy issues because it's weird.
I know. Although she hot, like she's scary
Yeah.
hot.
Yeah,
She hot.
yeah.
We're talking about Volumnia. If you want to know more, consult your local library.
Stella, you're number 4?
Okay, acknowledging what Kate said earlier, that some of this comes from bias of like productions and whatever. And I think I said at the beginning, I did play this character, so I have like deep emotional connection to it. So my number 4 is Nerissa. But for all of the things that Dan said, but also like, I view Nerissa as definitely aromantic, but in the way that like, she's your best friend fuck. Like she's the type that like fucks all of her friends but is still able to be friends with all of her friends.
Ooh.
Like, right?
Yeah.
She's the one that like you go through a bad breakup and she brings you a pint of ice cream and is also like, do you want me to eat you out? And you're like, yeah, I do. Like, she is always there for you. She's super like, she is just dependable, and she's like fun and creative and down for play, right? She's playful and she's there when you're taking yourself too seriously, whether it's in real life or in the bedroom, to be like, hey, this is fun, just like relax a little. And you're like, thank you. She's like, breathe, drink water, now let's try this position. And I feel like that is really valuable. And I love her.
Oh my God. We all need one.
We all need one. Breathe, drink water. Would you like to scissor?
Yeah. Stella, I feel like I really want your read on, like, I want your version of Nerissa and Prince Hal in my phone.
Yeah.
You know, just like speed dial
Yeah.
for when the occasion rises.
Yeah, you need the
Yeah.
dependable ones.
Yeah. Megan Bob, you're 4.
Caliban. Guess who wrote Caliban fanfic? 20,000 words of it.
Wow.
Whoa.
No,
I love you
it
so
was-
much.
Thank you. It was Caliban, Ariel, and Miranda. It's weird, but it's full of anti-colonial themes. Okay, but okay, back to my. He is that blend of like hunger, sensitivity, and authenticity that you really want, because he has this wonder in him to love the magic of the island, and he has this will to spite and defy Prospero. Same. Like, he yearns, he wants, he craves. I truly, looking at this list, I defy you to find anyone on it who will lose themselves in eating pussy the way Caliban will. Others might with more skill or more planning. I think Caliban is the only one who will be louder than you when eating you out. And that is...
Okay. I just imagine the noises that might entail.
Yeah.
It's very dog-like, so I don't really want to linger on that too much. All right, we are up to the top 3.
Ba-da-bow.
Kate, who is your number 3?
So my number 3 is Puck.
Yeah.
And I know that we've been talking a lot about being eaten out, but like that's immediately where my mind goes to with Puck. Is like, I feel like if you were like, hey man, I'm having a bad day, like what, and Puck would just be like, I got you, fam, like say no more, you know, like I don't know. And I feel like it'd be fun.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, you could hang after, you could like go on like weird adventures. Like he knows a really good record store downtown type of thing. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
I just think it'd be fun.
He's into
That's what I
urban
think.
exploring, where it's like, I know this like abandoned train station that's pretty chill. Let's check it out.
Yeah, and then you know, and then he's like, and also I prepared a Shivari scene, surprise, and you're like, oh Puck, you horny, you're so horny. Like it'd just be that. It would just be that.
He's got the hookup for some good flower juice. You know that.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, he knows a guy.
He knows a guy.
Stella, you're number 3.
My number 3 is Falstaff. Have you seen this man?
Good for you.
Have you seen this man drink a flask of ale? Have you seen this man eat a turkey leg?
Oh,
Can you imagine what this
fuck.
man would do in bed? Because I can. That's all.
Shit.
Awesome. Megan Bob, you're number 3.
Rosalind, like horny NB game, recognize horny NB game. She wants Orlando and fully says, how can there be too much of a good thing? Referring to his dick. Girl fucks like yes is not enough of an answer. She's like still mid fuck going like, no, there's more you can give me. only your complete surrender to giving her everything is enough.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Yeah. Megan, Bob, my number 3 is also Rosalind.
Yeah.
So I've never been in a situation where, like, I've been sitting at a bar just, like, chatting with a guy who's going on and on about, like, you know, the best techniques for cunnilingus, only to then, later that very night, have this guy remove his fake mustache and reveal that he's been a beautiful woman this whole time, and is wondering if I maybe wanted to try out all that stuff she was telling me about earlier. But if I ever found myself in such a circumstance, you can be sure as hell that I'm going to go ahead and call out of work the next day. In fact, I might just quit my job altogether, just to be on the safe side.
You're like, I got a new job and it's your pussy, baby.
That's right.
Full benefits.
You gave me very detailed instructions. That's right. Okay, we are down to the final 2. Stella, your number 2.
My number 2 is Mercutio. In any other circumstance, I feel like this would be a turnoff, but I just have this like very distinct image of Mercutio like fingering a person while giving them like a really eye contact, fingering up against a wall, like in a beautiful monologue at the same time. And there is something like very appealing of that. He's chaotic, but he's chaotic in a purposeful way, whereas like he's the one that is controlling the room, right? He walks in, everybody's like, Mercutio's here, he knows everybody knows him, they want a piece of him, but then he gives the full attention to you. Like there's something very powerful about that, to be like, I'm the only one in the room that you're looking at, well, everybody is looking at you, looking at me type deal. You know, like intense eye contact from this dude. And also I think he is somebody, you know, that you can get like a milkshake with afterwards or whatever, and he'll be like, so that was fun, do you want to go like get a drink and throw some axes? And you're like, sure, whatever.
Yeah,
because he
nice.
He definitely takes you on hipster dates for sure. It's like whatever's the coolest thing. There's something about him where you're like, I should be annoyed by this, but I'm not.
Yeah, I agree. I agree so much that Mercutio is also my number 2.
Nice.
Because, first of all, cosign literally everything you just said. I think that was completely right on the money. I will expand upon that by saying, I feel like Mercutio is like if you took Barone and just like shook all the smug self-satisfaction out of him. You know,
yes.
I would feel cheated if all I got was sex with Mercutio. Like, I want a weekend with this guy. Like, bar hopping, wandering into like tourist trap shops, doing like some fashion montages, like just exchanging increasingly bullshit stories just to like make each other laugh. You know, like he's smart, he's fun, he cares about his friends, but like he also has his feet on the ground. Like he's not trying to manipulate you. He just like cares about having a good time, and he's good at having a good time. That's perfect.
And he's not having a good time unless you're also having a good time.
Totally.
Oh my God, Dan, I want this for you.
I do too, Bob.
That sounds so nice.
Bob, you're number 2.
Ooh, does a toughie, Catherine.
Mm-hmm.
She can fake it, and fake it easily. Getting the real her is harder than getting it with anyone else, I think. She will fight you tooth and fucking nail not to give it to you. I think even if she likes you, does not do vulnerability. I do not know who can get it or how you can get it, but generally people don't guard stuff that's not worth having, typically. I would put in the work with her. One single, like, unguarded kiss from her would be like winning the lottery, the Kentucky Derby, and the Nobel Prize. That is how hard to get she is. But like, fuck.
Silence.
Okay. Yeah.
I know. Who am I?
We're just letting it soak in.
I like it.
All right. Kate, your number 2?
My number 2 is also Catherine. And I will say this is with extreme bias. This is extreme bias for two reasons. Number one, I built an entire like media empire off of the joke of being a burnt out, gifted and talented submissive brat with a praise kink. So that's number one. Number two, I have played Catherine 7 times
Holy
in various
shit.
productions. Like I am become her. And I feel such a kinship and a connection to that character because exactly what Megan Bob said. Like, I think she's a brat. Like, two, she struggles so much to be like authentically known and authentically seen. And I think getting that privilege of like, it's literally called Taming of the Shrew. I'm like, cause she's a fucking brat, man. Like, it's just what it is, right? And so it's like when she finally meets this like one person who like gets her and sees her, like that is like an honor. And like, that's like a big deal. And it's like, every time I play that role, I like me and my Petruchio, like we are like all of my Petruchios, like we're best friends still because it's that like connection. And it's like, you know, and they're people who like saw like the real me, Kate, playing Kate. And it's just like, I love her.
that.
I love her. I love her.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
And that just leaves us one character each. We're at our top. Our number
We
one
did
pick.
it.
Megan Bob, you are number one.
This is extremely basic, but I also wrote a fic about this a lifetime ago. Big feels Puck. Yeah, I did write fic about Puck a lifetime ago. The allure is being like Moth or mustard seed or whoever. You're out in the green space. You're doing what Titania orders. He's out doing what Oberon orders. You're both just like blown around by the whims of these all-powerful monarchs. You have duties. You have roles. You have a fucking job and a boss who's really pissy. But when you're in the woods together and no one else is looking, you are fully yourselves. Like you can laugh together at the madness of all of this. You can hide out together. Just sink into the joy of being with someone else who is caught in the same web as you and know that whatever else happens, you can rely on one another to be there. Because there will be another meeting between your bosses and there will be more frustration in the future. But when you're across from one another at that meeting and he like licks his lips and winks at you, it's going to feel so good to know the next time you're caught up in all of it again, you will find each other in the forest and you're going to be able to laugh together.
Very good. Stella, you're number one.
This is also a big feels for me. My number one is Lady Macbeth. To me, regardless of the ending of the play, to me, she is the full package. She has everything we've talked about. She has mommy energy. She has dom energy. She has wife-like energy. She's got ride or die energy. She has, you know, she's willing to do anything for you. You're willing to do anything for her. You can have that, like, make love, like, stare into each other's eyes, cry sex, but then you can also have the, like, angry, like, Catherine, like hate sex. You can have the like Mercutio like up against the wall, like let's go on a weird date sex. Like to me, she is everything. I just love her. Like, yeah, the play is tragedy or whatever and it ends bad, but like if we just look at this character before everything, like she wants what's best for you, what's best for her, what's best for each other. So this is like a fuck. Aww. This is like a fuck, marry, and kill. Like where she is a fuck, marry, kill. She is everything. I love her so much, and I would do anything for her. I would murder a king for her. I would burn the world for her, and she would do the same for me. She was, when I was making this list, that was immediate. I didn't have to think about it. I was like, Lady Macbeth, number one. Everybody else, I'll figure the fuck out. But she is my ride or die, and I want to do whatever she wants me to do for her.
My number one is Margaret. I feel like Margaret is kind of like if you combined Lady Macbeth's ambition with Prince Hal's ability to make someone feel unique and special. The difference is with those two characters, we can never be totally sure if the flirting and the courting is genuine or if it's just part of their grander schemes for power. So the extent to which they are beings who value sexual gratification is like, it's kind of up in the air, right? Like, you could read it either way. With Margaret, we know she's capable of pursuing sexual gratification because she maintains an affair with Suffolk when she's married to the King of freaking England. She is not just sexual, she is audaciously sexual. She will fuck you as a way of asserting her own personhood, as a way of sticking her thumb in the eye of the social structure that tries to tell her who she is and what her place is. No one that I can think of in the history of literature has ever taken the phrase, fuck the patriarchy, as seriously as she does.
Yeah.
Kate, who is your number one?
My number one is I'm also claiming my big feels for this one. So my number one is Falstaff.
Yeah!
Because, okay, a lot of people shit on Falstaff, and I get it. But, like, think about what we know about Falstaff, right? Like, first off, he has lived a life, right? And he is a man who loves life. He loves women and food and booze and getting into fights in the street. Like, this guy he has such, like, a joy about him. But then even more, like, the farther you get into the shows, like, when he dies, Mistress quickly, like, her heart is broken. Like, this is a man who is loved. His friends care about him. They care what happens to him. Like, when he's betrayed, like, it's such a big deal because you love him. And it's like, that's what I want in a partner. Like, I want someone who embraces the world, who is loved, who is jovial, who is big, who is brash, who is bold, who isn't afraid to, like, be like, yeah, let's go have some weird sex and then go get some beer. Like, unlike Stella, I am a chuckle fucker. Like,
I've been there. I'm a reformed chuckle fucker.
Yeah. But I'm like, I have to have an element of fun. Like, I have to, like, I can't outfuck you if you're not my friend, right? And so it's like, I think Falstaff would be so loyal and so kind and so generous. And then sometimes he would come home drunk and you would get in, like, a big fight and it would be like a whole thing. But I feel like you could have a life with Falstaff. You could have, like, a relationship with Falstaff in the way that, like, a lot of the other characters, it's like, yeah, they'd be fun for, like, a one night stand, but it's like, I would be with Falstaff because, like, that's a man who loves and loves hard, and I respect that. So that's my big feel about Falstaff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well done. All of our picks are in. Here in our script is where it said we're supposed to have a big board with all the final rankings get wheeled out, but I'm glancing backstage and there's some very panicked-looking stage crew running around, and the stage manager is signaling with increased agitation that to stall. So we're just going to vamp for a bit. Let's ask each other some questions about everything that we've said and done here tonight in a segment called Let's Unpack That.
I have, like, a blanket that's Let's Unpack That, because we kind of talked about listening to other people being like, oh man, that gave me a new perspective on this character. Like, I want to know if there's somebody each of us would have, like, moved after hearing an impassioned speech.
Oh, definitely.
I think I didn't know the rule. So I would have moved Caliban down because I would have moved Caliban, like, right down to the bottom because, like, I don't want to sleep with Caliban. I feel terrible for Caliban. And I think, honestly, like, I kind of got talked out of Barone by the end. Kind of got talked out of Barone. And I'm okay with that.
I got talked into Barone.
and into Malvolio. Y'all talked me into Malvolio.
I think that I got talked more into Catherine. I feel like that is a play as somebody who has many theater degrees and blah, blah, blah. Like, I've struggled with a lot because it is a play that is easy to struggle with as, like, a woman. And so I think my knee-jerk reaction was like, I can't think about this play anymore. But, like, hearing some of the impassioned speech about like, the vulnerability and if you could, like, break through the shell, I feel like I definitely would have moved Catherine up higher. And also maybe Coriolanus too. But I feel like the Coriolanus thing for me is, like, It's like a Destiel thing. Like, yeah, I don't want to see Dean kiss anybody other than Cass. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to see Coriolanus kiss anybody other than like his chosen. So like that's also kind of. But yeah, I think I would have moved Catherine up based on like maybe I'm the one that can break through her shell.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Coriolanus take because like for me, I was assuming the sex I was having with him was me having sex with him, right? It's like, I think if I was Aufidius, we're talking, number one, but that's because like they have this very specific relationship, right? So like if the premise was you were into him, he's into you, and also you're like this rival general that he has to ally with for a while, and you guys have like a long history of homoerotic subtext, then yeah, that's going to be incredible. But like that was when I was coming into this, presuming with him. The character opinion I have changed is Puck. And it's primarily because, like, I was having trouble conceiving of Puck as a being who was interested in sex. But, like, honestly, I think each of your takes have moved the needle for me. And, like, especially I think the way that Stella was pointing out how he's so into, like, the service aspect of it. He's, like, ready to just, like, bound to whatever it is that you need. Like, that's very appealing to me. And I can see how that would translate very well into a sexual partner.
We love an outline.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also feel like Puck is one of those characters where it really depends on the interpretation. Like I've seen some like just kicking a dead horse sexualized Pucks, and then I've seen some very like asexual, aromantic Pucks where it's not about that at all. And I think they're both really interesting. So a lot of it just kind of has to do with like where are you coming from with this character? Like for Coriolanus, I cannot think about Coriolanus without picturing Tom Hiddleston. Yeah. And so I'm like, well, obviously he's on in top 5, like as like it's just kind of that thing. It's like I think so much of it has to do with just the choices that the individual actor is making.
Totally.
Yeah. So it's challenging.
Yeah, it's interesting, like coming from a theater background and like when we did the monster episode, it's like I have a very specific image in my head. But like when you're doing plays, I've seen so many of these plays in different interpretations, different actors. I've played some of them, seen some people. Like I met my husband doing Shakespeare, right? So like I have a very different relationship. So it's both textually informed, but also like personally informed, like my relationship to this play. Like, my opinion on Rosalind didn't change, but like I understand where other people came from. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Megan, Bob, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
There was a lot of hand wringing when you were kind of swooning over this possibility of like a romantic pairing with Othello.
Yeah.
And you were talking about how much that like appealed to you, and you were like, oh, it's going to destroy my brand. I'm supposed to be the one who doesn't care about romance, that sort of thing. Would you say that you are into romance primarily when like the other person feels like they don't deserve you? And because I feel like what you're getting is that part of you that wants to be a cleric whose healing ability is related to blowjobs, right?
Yes. That primarily, that's a big part of it. But also, I mean, like Kate said, it's also the like, it's either that or like being truly seen. Like those are the two things. Either I'm breaking through somebody's shell or somebody's breaking through my shell. Like in an ideal world, both at the same time. But in a pinch, one or the other. And there are some characters on this list who that's possible with, but like there's others that just don't have a shell. And so, yeah, that's pretty high up on the list for me.
Yeah. So would you say then that it's not so much that you don't care about romance in your sex and more about like you care about other things in your romance? Like you want your romance to have like a certain flavor to it?
Yes. If it doesn't hurt at least a little bit, and I mean that in a very specific way, but like if the vulnerability is effortless, then I don't think it was vulnerability. And I don't like it's not anything.
It has to be earned.
Yeah, it does. Because I mean, like that's fucking life. Like it's not if it were easy to be vulnerable, like the world would be a very different place, but it's not.
Yeah.
And so I think romance that cheapens that by going like, oh, well, they're just made for each other and it's not hard. Like there's no like difficulty in trying to let somebody, I mean, it's that thing. It's like unbearable like indignity of being truly known. It's
Yeah.
awful. And you ideally want to be in that with somebody else. And so, yeah, I definitely need to have that in my romance, or else I'm like, this is garbage.
Kate, I have a question for you.
Oh, please.
What fanfic pairings do you think Barone would be interested in?
I feel like he would either be really like mainstream, like he would be like a big like supernatural
Yeah.
type of guy, or he'd be like really, really niche with like really hard to find stuff.
Oh, these are the rare pairs.
Yeah, I feel like he would be into rare pairs a little bit. But also, admittedly, I don't know a ton about fan fiction. So, yeah, I can say that I have fan fiction written about me, which I find to be very, very funny. And I like to think that in this particular situation, Barone would like contribute to that. He'd be like, yeah, that's
He's
like,
really
fun. That's fun. We'll add some to the pile. And I'd be like, yeah, okay, don't, but actually do.
I feel like that's a solid read. I think that Barone is really into RPF, which stands for Real People Fic. So I feel like he's really into RPF. I feel like he is only writing about real people because that makes it like more elevated. So he's like, I don't write Star Trek fanfic. I write like Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto fanfic.
I also feel like he wouldn't read a lot because he would feel like it was beneath him.
100%.
To read other people. Like he would just be like, no, I write like such good fanfic. I'm not going to read all of this like crappy other fan fiction.
His fanfic is full of quotes from like Paradise Lost and shit for no reason.
Yeah,
am
it's
a
like it's
sucker
just
for
always
that.
like, and
Me too,
that's
me too.
how
Don't get me
I
wrong.
banged Mephistopheles. Like this always just like weirdly fucking highbrow for no reason. You're like, bro, this is still porn. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. He write. You know what? I'm definitely RPF, but he also writes like Mary Sue stuff. But like he's the Mary Sue, right? So it's like
You're
What?
so right.
100%. I can't remember Mary Stew. That's what it's called. When it's like
Gary Stu, right?
Gary Stew. Yeah, Gary
Yeah.
Stew. So he definitely writes Gary Stew fic where he's like putting himself in the situation.
Yeah.
But it's not with like Dean from Supernatural. It's like with with Shakespeare maybe.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
or like-
I instantly thought Shakespeare
Yeah.
fanfic. Honestly, this is also a very hot take, but I will say this. I also think like if Barone was like, psh, like here now, the 1999 cinematic movie masterpiece, The Mummy, I feel like he would be all over that fan fiction. Just like all over it. Just like bisexual crisis. Like it would be incredible.
Oh, that's extremely compelling.
Ooh, my last hot take about him is that he writes it, thinks it's a masterpiece, will send it to you, but he refuses to post it on AO3 because it's beneath him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I feel like a really good way to like top him would be to like edit it for grammar.
Yes!
Like you just send back like minor corrections with like commas and apostrophes.
Thanks for the fic. I have notes. Like beta.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, that sounds so nice. Thank you. And then like I have a few notes. Like that's how you like brat.
That is like the subtlest like dig. What a power move. And so quiet. So
Yeah.
Right.
elegantly quiet. You're like, actually, that's like an incomplete sentence. So
Wow.
I could clean
Do
that
you want
up.
to use that word? I like that's like my like power play. Whenever anybody sends me like smut, I'm always just like took some time to edit it for you.
Mhm. Wow. Y'all are devious. I mean that in the nicest possible way.
He deserves it though.
Oh, you will hear no arguments from me. Yeah.
Okay.
Frankly, the amount of sexual gratification he's going to get as a result of this is better than he deserves.
Yeah, honestly.
Who has better drugs, Mercutio or Puck?
I feel like Puck has magic drugs. Though.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
That's a hard comparison.
Mercutio's advantage is that his drugs were intended for humans for recreation. Like,
That's a good
Yeah.
We're
Puck's
not
drugs-
as like a cruel learning experience.
yeah, like Puck's drugs are intended primarily with the experience of the third person who is observing their effects.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
So it depends on what you mean. Like, am I the one taking these drugs, or do I get to watch other people who I don't really know take these drugs? Because
Mercutio's drugs won't trap you forever in the Fey realm.
Yeah, yeah. I also feel like if it, again, like if they go like poof down here, I feel like Puck is like shrooms, like he's got like a weird amount of shrooms, but like Mercutio is like the guy who like works at like the dispensary, you know, and just has like info. Like he's like, oh, you're looking for like this, like you got to get this, you know. But he's like, he's got like pills in his pocket too, like
Yeah.
He's
At
got
all
a little
times.
extra.
I'm picturing Mercutio with a skateboard now.
Yeah,
I feel like Mercutio never charges you for it. He's always just like, yeah, sure. And Puck is like wanting to make a little cash on the side.
yeah. Puck is like, that's actually gonna be 40 a gram. Like,
Yeah.
Honestly, if I had Puck's job. Same.
Yeah. All right. This has been some excellent conversation, and I'm glad we did it, because it gave the stagehands plenty of time to calculate our final list.
Let's get it.
At the bottom of our list, the number 21 spot. Anyone want to take a guess? Anyone?
Angelo!
There you go.
Angelo, get
Yep.
fucked.
Yep.
Get fucked.
Number
I know,
21
it's
on the
okay,
list.
baby. I'll take you.
In a tie for number 20, we have The Fool from King Lear and Hero, which, like,
Oof.
yeah, that's rough, guys.
Well, actually, it kind of makes sense though, because she's a little bit like a Cordelia prototype. So
Yeah.
they kind of like pair well together.
That's true. That's true. He probably sees a lot of Cordelia in her. But he's just like, wow, you're way less interesting than Cordelia. Anyway, number 18 on the list is Hamlet.
Yeah.
Sad boy.
Sad boy. Number 17 is Autolycus.
No, Hamlet's gonna be so pissed that Autolycus is higher than him. He's gonna be like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And be like, "Yeah, baby, that's just how it goes sometimes."
That's
Sorry.
how it is, man. Mm-hmm.
That's what happens.
Journal about
it.
Incredible. Number 16 is Lord Barone.
Yeah.
Number 15 is Cassius. Number 14 are the Dromios from
Okay.
Comedy of Errors. Good job, guys. Number 13 is Caliban.
Yeah.
Number 12 is Margaret.
Mm.
Number 11 is Coriolanus.
Okay.
Nice.
Number 10, we have Nerissa.
Good.
In a tie for 9th place
Oh.
are Othello and Malvolio
Okay.
for completely different reasons.
I've
Wow,
read some
what a pair.
Malvolio fanfic, and like,
Mhm.
he can be fixed. I mean, not well, but he can be.
fixed.
Number 7 is Prince Hal / King Henry. We have a 3-way tie
Oh,
for
shit.
6th place
Okay.
between Rosalind,
Okay.
Lady Macbeth,
Ooh.
and Falstaff. All 3 of whom were various people's number 1 picks.
Okay. Okay.
Now that's an interesting, like, little mini orgy. Like, how did this
Yeah.
happen?
Yeah, boy, that's Falstaff's dream right there. Okay, number 3, we have Mercutio.
Okay.
And in a 2-way tie for 1st place
Oh.
are Catherine and Puck.
You know what?
Honestly, that makes sense.
They could
Yeah.
totally have like a genuinely good time together, I think.
Yeah, Puck is like,
Yeah.
what fools these mortals be? And Catherine's like, that's what I've been saying. So that means our true median for this episode is Coriolanus.
Mm.
Wowzers. What?
I think it makes sense. There was 2 really in favor and 2 really like
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
often the way the median gets decided. Not a lot of lukewarm takes on the man is what I'll say. So, the next question that we have to answer for ourselves is, looking at all these characters, how would we rank the overall fuckability of Shakespeare as a canon, I guess, as a set
Wait,
of
like
characters?
Shakespeare the author, or like
No.
his like
The
okay.
The characters in his works. How fuckable, in general, on a scale of 1 to 10 boners, would we say they are?
I'd say 5. Like
Yeah.
it's such a broad. Like if you're like on 1 to 10 fuckability, like all the way across the board, like there are some unfuckable people, and then there's some like very very fuckable characters.
Yeah.
Like I would say like like you get it's like 50-50.
Yeah. That's fair.
Ooh.
I'm close. I think I would give it a 6. I think that I'm a little bit more damaged than you are, so I'm like willing to. I'm willing to be like, well, is that really a deal, the light breaker? But it is like it is. I think because there's some like truly unforgivable, but then there's for me, it's not even like the most fuckable and least fuckable. It's that there's so many mid characters that's what brings it to the like. Because each play has like 1,000 characters, so it's like I don't even know who you are. Why would I waste my time? You know what I mean? So it like skews in the middle.
Yeah,
that's really where I'm at, because like I'm looking at my list. My first hard no is Coriolanus, who's at 18, but my last hard yes is Othello at 9. And so in between them is just a big expanse of like, maybe under the right circumstances, I would. I think I'm going to have to end up with a 6 as well. Some real interesting characters. And I think that with the vast majority of them, there's a reality in which you could have a good time. But like, it's a real dice roll with a lot of these people.
I feel like it's one of those like, what are the rules, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are they like poofing down here? Are we like going like into the play? Are we taking them completely out of context? Because it's like, I feel like if you took like Othello out of context, it's a really compelling, interesting person who maybe wouldn't murder you know? So it's like, where are we at in the narrative? Where are we at in the story? Like there's a lot of like considerations to be made.
For sure. Bob, what do you think?
8.
Wow. Okay.
Because I would fuck so much mid with a smile on my face to get to the bottom of this fucking garbage pile. Like, the highest highs and the most fucked up people.
They are compelling characters.
I know. Everybody's like, all right, Bob, we're going to chain you to the radiator. And like, you're not allowed to leave with all of them. And I'm going, but so bad. Num. Yeah, it's some of my earliest, most powerful, like, feelings of this, though.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of bullshit, but everything else is too goddamn delicious for words.
Well, that leaves us with an average boner rating of 6.25 boners out of 10 for Shakespeare.
Good job, Shakespeare.
Which leaves us with just one more question we must address this evening, which is, what did we learn here today?
I've learned that I might be a little bit more of a sadist than I thought.
You really enjoying digging into some of those people.
Yeah. But I'm not above, having it turned back on me. But I feel like, I was like, lick my boots. So maybe I need to interrogate that a little bit more.
Well, look, they deserve it.
They do.
No jury in the land would convict you.
Well, I think I learned that Dan has more of a praise kink than I would have previously. I was going to say pegged you with, but I would have previously guessed. And you know what? I'm really happy for you, Dan.
Thanks, bud.
Honestly, I think what I don't know if I learned, but I really enjoyed is how much each person's reading of the play defines how you think about the character. Like, because everybody brings something different to their experience of like interacting with these plays. And so it's like, Malvolio like fucking licked my boots. I was like, I would have never thought of that, but now that you fucking said it, I'm like, yeah, let's go. Like, I just love Shakespeare so much.
Me too, man.
Fine.
Yeah, I know. Deeply,
you're in good company here. All right, that just about does it for us. All that is left to us is to plug our various things.
I can go first. If you want to follow me on the various websites owned by awful billionaires, you can find me at Stella_Cheeks on Twitter or X, and then Stella Cheeks on everything else. Whatever, man. And then if you want to listen to if you want to listen to me on other podcasts, you can either listen to X-Treks, which is a X-Files Star Trek TOS mashup where we get also unbelievably horny, or Spooky 30s, which is my like academic horror podcast, which there's about 8 episodes out already, and then we're relaunching season 2 in October with some really fun stuff. So if you want to hear me also talk and like like, I studied this in school type deal.
Yeah.
I missed grad school, so I have to justify this.
Same.
Because school is really expensive. You can find any of that on like Spotify or wherever you can find podcasts. So yeah, it's me, Cell Cheeks, always on the internet. Also, if you follow me on Instagram, you get to see my butt a lot because I am a burlesque dancer. So there's that.
Butts. It's a good butt. You should be a fan of it.
Yeah, I will say, Stella, you said more or less the same thing on the monster episode that you were on before. And I was like, oh, that sounds relevant to my interests. And so like I looked up your Twitter and I was like, oh, she's just talking a lot about like current Batman and X-Men comics. And that's like way more relevant to my interests. So,
yeah.
So I ended up, yeah. So I was like, yeah, tell me about your thoughts about Krakoa. This is great.
Yeah, I do work at a comic book shop once a week, and we joke that I'm an indentured servant, an indentured servant for my comic books, because I read so much. So like my Twitter is mostly just about my feelings about comic books, but I talk about other stuff other places and show my butt sometimes.
Yeah, highly recommended. Kate, what would you like to plug?
Before I do that, I have to ask Stella one question. Speaking of like nerdy academic bullshit, have you read Once in Future?
Yes.
Oh my god. Okay, we'll talk later.
Okay.
Anyway, hi everybody. I'm Katieosaurus. You can find me on all the social medias that are possibly existing as Katieosaurus. I also have a podcast called Katie and Eric's Infinite Quest, an ADHD adventure. We talk about life with ADHD. We talk about sex, romance, neurodivergency, depression, and sometimes we play TTRPGs. And if you're just like, wow, I really like the sound of your voice and I want to hear more, head on over to the Twitter X, I don't know. I do a lot of TTRPG actual plays, and I'm going to be doing a lot more moving into 2024. So if you want to check me out, you can. That would be nice. Thanks.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question about your mostly pans?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Also, I guess I can plug that here. I can
Yes,
never
you can.
plug it on the stuff
Plug
that I
the
do.
shit out of it. I follow you on there. Your shit is gorgeous.
Thank you. Also, I do have an OnlyFans, but because you can't say OnlyFans on TikTok, so I got wine drunk one night and I bought the domain mostlypans.com and it redirects to my OnlyFans, and I'm very proud of that.
Oh, tremendous.
So you can check it out. I do a lot of cozy kink content. I do a lot of audios. I do a lot of customs. So if you're like, man, I like your voice and I want to hear you read something specific,
Maybe Shakespeare.
maybe Shakespeare. I have done that before and I have done that again. Have Sibian and Shakespeare will make content about it.
Fuck yeah.
So that's fun. Yeah. So yeah, if you want to check that out, it's onlyfans.com. No, it's not. It's mostlyfans.com. Or you can just go to OnlyFans where I'm Schmadiosaurus. So,
yeah. I've got a question.
Come
Are
find
you
me.
ever going to do like, I mean, it would be kind of a bit of a lift to do it, but like a Shakespeare photo set?
Yeah, I mean the answer is probably yes. I've gotten a weird amount of like Shakespeare, not that the requests are weird, but a weird amount of Shakespeare requests lately.
Oh, really?
And
Something
I
in the
think it's
air.
because I was I don't know, but like a lot of people are like, oh, you should do like a Hamlet set, and I was like, what do you want me to do? Like light a hole? Like what do you want? Like I don't know. So I'll figure it out. But yeah, sure. For you, Megan Bob, you'll see it on there. I'm gonna dedicate it to you.
Thank
I feel
you.
like, I hesitate saying this because I just talked a bunch of shit about her, but you guys really liked her, and I can see the argument. Doing like a Rosalind thing with like a cross-gender type thing, like
Yeah.
you could have like the trees full of your poems or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. I also just feel like there's just something like inherently very sexy about a poet shirt. Like a well-fitting
So
poet
floppy.
shirt. Like,
Yeah.
you can do a lot with that.
All right, Dan, you want to plug something?
Yeah, I do a podcast called Garden Plots of Skeletor. It is an audio drama / comedy and also a gardening tips show hosted by the main villain from the cartoon He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, Skeletor. I do his voice. I do the editing on the show. Megan Bob is one of the writers. We are currently on hiatus. We're going to be coming back in a few months once our writers have recovered from some extremely understandable life events. But there's a big old backlog. We have 2.5 seasons already. I think it's really fun. I really enjoy doing it, and I really enjoy listening to it, and I think you will too.
Aw, thanks. All right. This is my show. You are in it. This is Hard Choices. There's a bunch of episodes. You can jump into any episode and you are missing very little context. I think you'll pick up very quickly that I have dangerous taste. That's perhaps maybe the only continuity thing. Other than the fact that I tend to like old dudes, like old, and now we've established crusty dudes. Other things to note. I have a Patreon. It has a bunch of other content on it, including Bad Choices, which I cannot recommend highly enough whenever we got drunk and talked about how much we wanted to fuck various Looney Tunes. There's also Weird Choices whenever we talk about fucking like conceptual things and what that might be like. And so if you need to hear about punctuation, like does a semicolon fuck? The answer is absolutely. But how? How? Inquiring minds. I know. Kate is making a face of like, oh, thoughts.
I have a question.
Yes.
Have you done fonts yet?
Kate, would you like to be on Weird Choices fonts with me?
Yes, I have such opinions about fonts.
This is...
I name
Kate,
all of my TTRPG characters after fonts.
Oh my God.
So I know I have strong feelings about fonts.
7 fonts, the 7 fonts that you care to talk about / rail about the most.
Okay.
Okay. We will meet
okay.
in a corner booth at a cafe where no one will hear us. No, obviously we'll be recording this.
So weird.
No. I strong feelings. Like Tempest Sands, you and I across the room.
Papyrus.
That is how Papyrus says its own name. 1000 canon. Also, Rose City Comic Con in Portland. We have a date and time for our show. We were given the death slot, which is very sexy. We have 4:00 on Sunday, September 24th. Do you think this is going to stop these boners? Goddamn no, it is not, because I am having custom condoms fucking made for this.
Yes!
Do you want a custom condom? Baby, come on down to Rose City Comic Con, September 24th at 4 p.m. Also, if you get there early, you're going to get one of the one-night stand baggies. And definitely you're going to want that because it's Sunday night. Like, what else are you going to be doing? Getting ready for work the next day? Fuck no, you're not. You are going to go to the bar and make a choice. If you want to see that, you have to go to Rose City Comic Con. You can get the one-day pass and come on down for that action. We're going to be talking about 80s cartoon icons. Speaking of Skeletor, boy, do I have emotions about that Bone Boy.
You get access to your Discord from the Patreon, correct?
Yes.
Highly recommend.
Cool.
It's a super fun Discord. So even if you're like, I don't need more podcasts to listen to, but I want to interact with these people, the Discord is very fun.
It's terrific.
Discord is like wholesomely horny.
Yeah, it really is.
In a weird way that I can't truly explain.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us on this highly lyrical episode of Hard Choices. We did it 10 syllables at a time. Go back and check. You'll see it was perfectly in rhythm the whole time. Make sure to join us next month for our episode on cryptids. And until then, stay hard.
This has been Hard Choices.
If you want to show your support and get even more goofs from behind the scenes, visit patreon.com/hardchoices and become a patron. You'll get exclusive voting rights and participation in every weird new thing we do.
If you like the show, please consider leaving a 5-star rating and review on the podcatcher of your choice. It shows people what's fun about the show and makes it easier for others to find it too. Hard Choices is produced by Megan Bob. Our theme song is Funk Me by Soundroll. This piece and all music used in this production is licensed through Uppbeat. You can find details in our show notes and listen to more great tunes at uppbeat.io, spelled UPPBEAT.io. The Hard Choices logo is designed by Claire Mulcairn. If you'd like to get into touch with us, look for the Smash Fiction Fan Faction on Facebook and join the conversation. Thank you so much for listening and hanging out with us. You're a peach!